What you are about to see is a simulated accident. It is an accurate depiction of the process and time frame of a real wreck. The events that you are about to observe will unfold as they would occur in real life and death situations. It is typical for students to feel the rescue process takes a long time, but remember, we are going through an actual accident scene just as it would happen in real time. It is important that you listen closely to what I am saying and watching the events as they occur. The demonstration is designed to show consequences of drinking and driving as well as texting and driving. We hope this presentation will help you make intelligent decisions during prom, graduation, and the rest of your lives. Picture this. The date is Friday, May 24th, prom night. It is a beautiful evening that couple Luke Niels and Krista Krasinski decide to go to a small after party near downtown Milford. After partying, they leave with Josh Parker and Riley Mitchell to go back to Krista's house and are driving on Milford Road. Krista is in the passenger seat. Luke is driving while Josh and Riley are in the back seat. Meanwhile, Milford High School juniors Ella Hendry and Tyler Hanner are on their way home from a movie. Luke decides to drive after having a few beers at the party. He feels okay, but doesn't realize his reaction time is significantly slower and swerving just enough to be a liability on the road. As Luke drives through the intersection, he doesn't see the red light, but instead blows through it and hits Tyler's car head on. Tyler is texting while driving and doesn't realize Luke is running the red light. The two cars collide head on. Shay Geese and Brendan Stewart are driving behind as they witness the crash. They call 911, and police and fire units are dispatched as 911 call is received.
Oakland County 911, what's your emergency?
There's been a car crash. It looks really bad. There are a lot of people that are hurt. You guys got to get out here.
What's your location?
We're right outside Milford High School, like right by the boulevard.
All right, how many cars are involved?
I think it was only two.
Only two? All right, can you tell me if anybody's hurt?
It looks pretty bad. There's someone on the hood of the car. There's someone outside of the car. I think some of them may be dead. You guys really need to get here.
Okay, I just need you to stay calm and help is on the way.
From the moment these vehicles crash, which medical personnel refer as the golden hour of trauma begins, emergency medical personnel know that time is against them and they must work fast. If victims are brought to the hospital, they can be stabilized, thus increasing their chance of survival. More often, accident victims die from the shock from their injuries, not the accident itself. The chances of survival from major trauma all depends on the speed of treatment. While we are waiting for help to arrive, let me explain what took place when the cars collided. Luke's car was driving 55 miles an hour and he ran a red light, which caused him to hit Tyler's vehicle that was going 45 miles an hour through the intersection. As the cars crashed, the front of Luke's car had been demolished. Meanwhile, Tyler and Ella continued to travel at their vehicle's original speed of 45 while slipping to a stop. At 20 times the normal force of gravity, their bodies each weighed around 3,200 pounds. The force of Luke's car on Tyler's made such a significant impact, Ella, who was not wearing a seatbelt, was ejected from her seat and onto the ground. Krista, who was also not wearing a seatbelt, was also ejected onto the hood. Her body was thrown through the windshield, causing her to land on the hood of the car. Josh was thrown around in the back seat and received injuries to his head. Riley is wearing a seatbelt but was thrown into the back of Luke's seat, causing major bodily damage. Tyler's condition seems to be the best. The force of the impact crushed his legs, instantly causing irreparable damage, but he is still alive. The first officer on the scene will examine and look for hazards that might impede the rescue process. This includes downed power lines, fire, leaking gas, or anything else that could endure danger for the rescue personnel. He will check the injured and administer first aid. He will contact the 911 dispatcher via radio and make sure the fire department and ambulances have been contacted and are en route. Once the fire department arrives, the officer will manage crowd control in addition to accident investigation. He will then attempt to identify the crash victims so they can contact family or emergency contacts. The first victim they look to assist is 18-year-old Carissa. So was the front seat passenger in Luke's car and was not wearing a seatbelt. On impact, her body was still moving at 55 miles an hour, throwing her through the front windshield onto the hood of the car. The impact caused massive head injuries and led to brain bleeding and inflation. Carissa is losing massive amounts of blood. She is comatose and non-responsive. There's nothing the paramedics can do. She does not have a pulse or blood pressure. Carissa is pronounced dead. The paramedics will tell the police to call the coroner. The driver of the car is Chris's date, 18-year-old Luke Niels. Upon impact, Luke's body was thrown towards the center of the car. His face smashed the center console, causing multiple facial cuts and broken bones. Large pieces of glass are embedded into his face, scalp, and eyes. Luke suffered an injury to his brain and is semi-conscious. His chest and abdomen impacted the steering wheel bag, causing several ribs to break and severe internal bleeding. Lastly, his knee was smashed against the steering wheel, causing his left thigh bone to break. Luke's heart stops, and EMTs must use a defibrillator to restart his heart. The EMTs will splint his femur with anti-shock trousers. He will be taken by ambulance to Huron Valley Trauma Center. The backseat passenger is 18-year-old Riley Mitchell. Riley was wearing a seatbelt but is suffering major injuries. As the car crashed into the other car, her movements caused her injuries to her spine, resulting in partial paralysis to her lower body, along with a major concussion and many broken ribs that caused a collapsed lung. She remained conscious during all of this, and with each gasp of breath, she feels the pain of all the broken bones grind against each other. The fire department EMTs will stabilize Riley's neck and back, and the paramedics will treat her for shock and start IV lines to replace the fluid she has lost. She is continuing to lose large amounts of blood in her chest and stomach. Slipping further and further into shock, she continues to gasp for air, crying in pain. The paramedics will insert a large needle into her chest to relieve some of that pressure and is pushing on the collapsed lung. She is transported to the Huron Valley Hospital Trauma Center. "18-year-old Josh Parker was riding in the back seat with Riley. He was not wearing a seatbelt but was severely thrown throughout the car, experiencing multiple injuries to his head and body. Josh was killed on impact. The emergency medical technicians determined that Ella is also dead on the scene. Oakland County Police determined that she and Josh will be left until the medical examiner arrives. This frees up EMTs to work on the other victims." Tyler is in the best condition of the 3 living victims. The EMT will insert a large through his mouth and into his windpipe. Through this tube, the EMTs will assist his breathing and administer extra oxygen. 2 large IVs will be placed in his arms, and the EMT crew will be giving blood. Tyler will be taken by ambulance to the trauma center at Huron Valley Hospital. At the hospital emergency room, Tyler's breathing will be controlled by a machine. A large tube will be placed into his nose and down to his stomach to empty his stomach. A small tube will be inserted into his stomach to find the source of bleeding. Of the 3 alive, Luke is in the most critical condition. Within the hour, Luke will be in surgery. A trauma surgeon will cut open his abdomen and control his internal bleeding. An orthopedic surgeon will insert a pin similar to the large nail through his thigh bone, near which a traction device can be applied. This will control his broken leg. A plastic surgeon will remove the multiple glass fragments and will try to repair Luke's face. His jaw has to be wired to fix his facial bone fractures. Luke will remain in the intensive care unit on a breathing machine for several weeks after the accident until his condition stabilizes. He will go back to surgery and have a large rod inserted into his femur so that it can heal correctly. He will be in the hospital for 5 weeks, followed by a long recovery period at home. About 18 months later, Luke will return to surgery to have the rod in his thigh removed as well as facial scars revised. The most devastating long-term effects will call from the traumatic head injury. He suffered major post-traumatic amnesia and is unable to remember most of his friends and will have to work hard to rebuild basic skills such as reading and writing. His plans to attend the University of Tennessee and study environmental engineering will be put on hold and possibly never achieved. Also, because Luke was driving the car while he was drunk, he will now face criminal charges for the death of his schoolmates, Ella, Josh, as well as his girlfriend, Carissa. He is facing up to 30 years in prison. Once Riley arrives in the emergency room, she will undergo the same battery of tests and procedures that her friends did. X-rays and computerized scans showed fractured vertebrae in her neck. The neurosurgeon will take her to the operating room where the bones in her neck will be repaired. In order for her broken neck to heal, she will be fitted with a metal halo that is anchored in place by rods sticking out of her. She will then be fitted with a halo vest with large rods to help support her neck. The most Riley will be able to accomplish is to hold her head up. Her spinal cord will never heal. She will spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair due to the damage of her spine. Riley's plan to attend GVSU and start the next phase of her life will look completely different, as she instead will be learning how to adjust to life in a wheelchair. Aside from all the physical pain that Riley, Tyler, and Luke must go through, they all must deal with the emotional pain of dealing with the deaths of their friends, Carissa, Ella, and Josh. I would like to thank everyone for coming. All of us today hope that you have made a difference in the decisions you will make about drinking and driving, even texting and driving. Please promise us and yourself that you will remember to think before you get behind the wheel of a car. Saying goodbye to a friend or family member is the hardest thing you will ever have to do. Thank you. Make sure this time of year, please don't drink and drive. Please save those texts to when you get home and make positive decisions. Thank you.